why Finland, the Finnish Civil War, should be in Nationwide Simulator. So basically, this is not going to be about should they add it or it should be the aspects of like supporting detail why they could add it, right? Now, my opinion. I'm gonna explain it in a little bit. So it was basically the red socialists, I think, who were fighting the nationalists of Finland. This happened in 1918 from I think June to May. The Germans supported always the nationalists. After the peace treaty with the Bolsheviks, they supported Finland, and then obviously the Bolsheviks supported the Finnish socialists, right? So why it's also important and why it was important in the thing because it basically gave Germany a state to stand right between Russia's control over, say Sweden or Norway or any of the Nordic countries. It gave them like a buffer state to keep them away. Like, hey, back off. It was very important to get involved in the Civil War. Now the same thing in Nationwide Simulator. It's very important, as I said in another video, to get involved in the Russian Civil War. Right, very important because there's so many steel territories that have steel and produce steel that if you're a colonial power or if you're UK who gets involved, you get a good steel investment and you get to have that person who's playing that country as your ally. Now, why I think the Finnish Civil War would be beneficial to the game is because it can do the same thing. When I was doing research on this and I was doing the gameplay, I found that Helsinki, Lapland, and Murmansk, Karelia, Finland, or Finnmark actually, the province right above of Lapland, and the province right there that starts with Nordbotten. They all have steel. They all produce great amounts of steel. They're freaking great producers. That's 6 steel tiles right there. If the Finnish Civil War is added, what would that mean? Well, I know this game is set in 1919, but if it's added or it's changed back to 1918 or whatever, changed because of other stuff, if the Finnish Civil War is added, that would give more of a freedom for all the other countries, say in Asia or Europe, or like say imperialistic White Russia, them to support the nationalists for them to beat the socialists. So it would make it more fair, and I think it will make it more interesting. Because we know in 1919 it wasn't so stable. We know that after World War I, so many people and countries wanted independence. And I think even Karelia, the Karelian uprising happened just like 1921. I think it'd be very interesting to have Finland have a civil war in 1919 or have it played back in 1918, right, in NRS. And you can look at the cultures here. There's so many peoples, and I think it'd be pretty interesting because right now in 1919, what is it is? I think Finland is mainly democratic, democratic at this time, but they don't really have any more like the socialists or like the nationalists too much. But oh, they do have nationalists, yeah. But it would be very important to add it to the Civil War because it would give other opportunities for other countries to make like that, and it would also it's a very good opportunity for Finland itself. Whether you play the socialists or you play the nationalists, you get experience in your army, you get to capture equipment, you get to have combat experience, so you know what you're doing. The Civil War is very good for you to help train and know what you're doing. And know how to play, right? And a Finnish war would make it more fair. Like, there's always a balance to Europe. If you have a Finland who say in this instance of if there's a civil war, if you have a Finland who unites all of Finland in the civil war, and then conquers all of the Nordic regions, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, what does that do? They set up an empire. And if all the rest of the European countries are just, stable and they're staying neutral, that tips the balance of Europe. That means Finland now has a hand in the Baltics, Eastern Europe. So it would be a very good thing to not destabilize, but weaken your potential enemy who can be, this person. Say if Spain has a civil war, but France doesn't like Spain, because Spain is known for making an empire, right? You weaken Spain, France goes in and crushes the other Spain, who's putting the player, and then bam, they don't have that threat on their border anymore. The Finnish Civil War also it might not be historically accurate because it ended in 1918 in May, but it'd be a good addition to add. Be a very good addition to have. There's like, hey, here's something else for the players to do. Play Finland. Like, Finland is very isolated, so it's a long time to build up. But they have very many opportunities, especially when they can invade Russia. Like, Finland has so many opportunities to go into the Bolshevik Russia. They can intervene in the Russian Civil War. Sweden and Norway usually are neutral. They don't really do much. Finland has pretty good development. They have really good development, especially for any countries in Norway or in the Nordic regions. They have mills that they start off with. Sweden doesn't have mills. They start out with sieves. And I think maybe Norway has like 1 or 2 mills. I don't know. But they have very good access to steel. They have 2 steel provinces. They have open ones in their civil war with Murmansk and the one right here, Karelia, and like Finnmark. So it's a very good opportunity. If the devs ever do add the Finnish Civil War or change the clock back to where the game starts in 1918, that would be freaking great. That means Finnish Civil War starts. That'll be something different also. And if the socialists win, they would probably go communist, and they would be a good gun producer. And say if the Bolsheviks win or whoever wins the Civil War, Russian Civil War, they can make Finland a puppet ally, which means now that they have a hand in Nordic politics, which is a great thing, especially when it comes to the steel, like steel production. So I think the Finnish Civil War should be added. It's a very good, interesting idea. Research it on Wikipedia. It's also very good. It's like a very good detailed thing. Lasts for a couple months, 3 months actually. It was a very quick civil war, but it was a very crushing socialist defeat for them. But hopefully they can look into it, or add it, or change the clock back to 1918. That would be great. Or just add it to this one, you know. But this is just my opinion. They don't have to add it. It'll be a very great addition to Nation Rising Simulator. Like you can see right here, Baltic Duchy. They took all of Finland. Now say if Finland had a civil war, like right historically, the South was just socialists right here, the nationalists to the North. If there's a civil war, that would destabilize Finland a little bit. They'll be through the civil war. But the good thing about civil war is that once you come out, you come railing out. Like when you play Bolsheviks or play Soviets, you win the civil war, you build factories, you build mills, you rush development for your provinces, which is a great thing. That means you're industrializing your country. It means you're making your country great. That means you're building your country up to refix itself after the war. That'll be great for Finland. They have a good amount of development. They have a good amount of civs that help them and benefit from a lot, and they're a good position to be influenced by, Germany or be influenced by White Russia. And if they can manipulate that, they can have influence over taking Murmansk, Karelia. You can build an empire out of a civil war, literally. It just takes effort. This is my case of why it should be added. I think the Finnish Civil War is a very interesting time. You can research it. The Great War made some videos on it. It's a very interesting Civil War. But hopefully this can be looked at. Either the dev looks like it or somebody. And look, if you read it or you watch this, I hope you enjoyed. And I hope you can take my idea wherever you go with it. Either you take if you support it or not, or whatever. I would just think it'd be interesting because there's no more civil. Well, there is civil wars, but there's no open civil wars. I don't think in this if Germany went communist or something like that. Your nationalists break free. They don't do that. But it would be a great thing. It would be Finland gets some with the civil war. It would be not exactly historically accurate for 1919, but it would be good to good to have a player to be able to have a challenge in that, So it would test the player. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I've been talking for a long time. But if you agree with them or not, put in the comments whatever, opinions or critiques or criticisms or whatever it is. Just put them in the comments. I'll probably answer them if I don't see them. If I'm busy, I probably will get you back later. But here you guys, see you guys. Have a great week. Today is Saturday. So yep, see you guys, and play Finland. Finland is also pretty fun. It's just when there's a fresh server, it's a lot of build up. So it's build up to your political power, build up to a lot of stuff. So just try it out, have fun, and see you guys. Bye bye. I've been talking for a long time, so see you guys.